everybody. Boom. Welcome to The Obsession, everybody. I'm Garl Bethke.
I'm Mike Stadler.
Mike,
Go.
second week of November, my friend. Ooh. Getting late if you haven't filled your tag.
Yeah, buddy. This is what.
Still a lot of deer out there.
Oh, yeah.
Still a lot of deer out there.
It isn't getting angry this time of year now.
Yeah. People, frustration everywhere.
This is the biggest time of year. Don't quit.
No, right.
Because this gets tough now. If you get this far into the season, you're in the second week of November. We love the, last week of October, first week of November. So you're getting down here, there's a lot of big bucks hit the ground already.
Yes, there has.
But there's still a lot of them out there, and people kind of, I think they start to fall off.
Yeah, the other part of it is a lot of deer been educated.
Oh, yeah. Only almost all of them.
And that's probably why it gets harder, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I don't know.
This time of year, I think luckily for us, most of the time we're done.
Most of the time.
But there's been times we're not, and I feel this time of year you really got to watch where you're going and what you're doing, and really try to pick your sits. A lot of your normal stuff that you sat and hunted all year probably ain't going to work. It just isn't anymore. So I think, in my opinion, you got to kind of think out of the box here, and you got to have different setups and try to figure out where these deer are, because they're still there.
Yes.
They're still moving, but the movement's different. It's definitely going to be harder to get to them. You're not calling these deer anymore.
No.
They're
far more leery now.
Yeah.
They've played the game long enough, and if they've made it this far, and especially for you're hunting not just a buck, but an older class, let's just say a 2.5 to older class buck, there's been education there where he is realizing that everything in the woods wants to kill him. Yeah. So he is very leery about anything. Only moving basically on the edges of the daylight. A lot of people blame it on lockdown. Well, a lot of it is, I don't know if I call it lockdown at this point. If you have a doe that is in estrus, buck gonna be locked down with it. Towards the end of this particular week, most of the does, if not all of them, have been bred, depending on how many you have in the area. And we're getting closer to gun season, so that's the other part of it, is we got gun hunters coming into the woods, and a lot of these guys are putting stands up, getting ready for gun season, Well, that's educating deer too, especially if you're on public and stuff like that. If you're on your private land, you got to think, like Mike said earlier, out of the box. You're going to have to hunt deer where there weren't deer before, because that's where they are now.
Yeah, especially spots that you don't normally go, or they're going to move into that. And remember, if they are locked down with does, it's only a few days.
Yeah.
And they're back up and they're looking again. So especially there's a lot less competition, because a lot of them are dead.
True.
So they're going to be roaming around and be looking. So, big thing is, if you have does, you're going to have bucks.
Yeah. 100%.
And you like to have does. So that's you really got to start looking around and trying to find, where they're congregating the most. If they've moved, then you got to move.
Yeah, 100%.
Like traditionally where you see your bucks, probably not going to be in those spots anymore, because these does are going to move around. Yeah. Especially if they've been getting chased for 3 weeks.
Yeah, this time of year too, I think you'll agree with this. You'll actually start to see scrape activity again.
Yeah.
Fairly heavily of the animals that are left. And I mean does and bucks, because those who haven't been bred are going to be going to the scrapes to let everybody know they're ready to be bred. Some of the younger fawns at this point, or the older fawns, sorry, will start, usually people talk about the second rut being the beginning of December. We've noticed now, at least in here in southern Wisconsin, I've seen on our cameras, all of a sudden you'll start to see the older fawns start to come into estrus. So this is, last year it was during the middle of gun season, that great big 10-pointer. I got video of them, and I'll show it here, chasing those does, middle of gun season.
Yep.
Well, that fawn was in estrus, and that's why he was there. It probably saved his life, because he was on my property.
And say otherwise, that's how they get dead.
That's
Those big ones get dead.
Yep. So you'll start to see that this time of year too. Look for that on your cameras, especially if you got cells. if you got cell cameras, Mike's got cells here. I don't have cells on my property, but Mike's got cells here. Hunt with your cameras.
Yeah, we see it every year here because normally, you know, like I said, Carl and I are lucky enough to have filled our tags, but we see it at his place also. But we can see it live here, and like especially last year, we had a ton of bucks moved in on both properties, and we were watching it here, and we had some of the biggest deer on the property here. So that's kind of a thing. If you have spots that you don't normally hunt, you know, those are places you're going to want to go to, especially if there's no pressure, because the more pressure you have, you know, like our properties are always real good late because we don't pressure them.
Yeah, and our neighbors do.
Yeah, and they do. So deer move in. Yeah. They just do. So if you got, you know, and it could be a small chunk of land. I mean, you can have a 10, 15, 20 acre piece of property somewhere. If you don't, I don't normally hunt that place. Might be a place you might want to look now.
That's a fact.
You know, not saying everybody has that opportunity, but it is a good place, especially if it hasn't been hunted.
Yeah.
You see a lot of times those little bitty couple acre thickets.
Yep.
And there's a giant in there.
Oh yeah.
And even in there a while.
Oh yeah.
You know, and people do it every year.
Dug in deeper than
an Alabama tick.
Yeah, that's right.
But, you know, when people are like, oh, I'm not going to hunt that, just this little spot, you know, I'm like, okay. Be a good buck in there.
Oh, I've seen a lot of people shoot big bucks out of little just 100-foot by 100-foot thickets.
And that's usually, too, you know, they kind of stay in there that whole time, and those gun hunters go pick them off.
Yeah.
Because
they'll drive it.
They drive it, pick them off out of there.
Surround the whole place.
We used to do it every year when I used to gun hunt way back in the day. There was a small... It was an acre by an acre in the middle of a cornfield. Yeah. Every year we shot a big buck out of it.
Did it at the point in the lease.
Yep.
That same point. How many big bucks did get shot out of there?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So, I mean, that's something you could do. The other aspect of this time of year is, you know, on the management side, if you're a land manager, this is when you start to accumulate big deer. Yeah. So if you have a good piece of property and you spent your time setting everything up and getting it ready, this is when you start pulling bucks from your neighbors. Yep. Because there's pressure out there. Everybody's going in there. People are getting desperate. And I get the pressing it, especially if you're bow hunting, you know. Mm-hmm. And I understand it 100%. But this is the time of year that people lose bucks, people gain bucks. And then they decide whether or not they want to stay on your property. I don't know how many bucks we've gained multiple years.
We always gain
this time of year.
But, and you know, that goes back to not only our setups,
right,
but what we preach about is the pressure, our entries and our exits. That's why they're still here. Yeah. You know, and obviously, yes, we have it set up for deer. Yeah. And this is why every year, both of us have big deer on our property during gun season. Because nobody's pushed them off. No. You know, and this is why a lot of people get sick of gun hunting, because gun hunting ain't like it used to be. Nobody moves anymore.
No, everybody
sits. Because nobody wants to push their deer out of there.
Right.
That's why.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah.
You know, so
it isn't like we're, you know, they talk about deer or, you know, hunter numbers and this, that, and the other thing. Well, hunting now is a lot different than when you and I were growing up, so it's...
Well, and a lot of the land is owned now by a lot of different people than it was 20, 30 years ago.
True.
So, and those people hunt, or they don't want people in there.
Right.
You know, so now when you used to come, and this block is a prime example. Back in the day, people would start at one end of this block and they would walk it all the way down, go across the road, do the same thing. Everybody just shot everything, nobody cared.
Right.
Now, you don't go anywhere.
No.
If you don't own it.
That's right. This is my 40, that's your 40.
Yeah, it's your 40, that's your 70, this is this guy's 100.
Yep.
Stay out of it.
Yep.
You know, so, and that's the thing, but you got to be diligent this time of year yet.
Right.
And you got to hunt smart.
Yeah, and if you put your time in, you still get your opportunities. We're not saying this is a bad time of the year.
No.
It's just the movement is subdued substantially. Yeah. Again, don't be afraid to hunt water. Don't be afraid to watch your scrapes, your mock scrapes, your scrape lines, anything like that.
Your weather can still affect you good this time of year too.
Weather will affect in a positive way.
Yeah.
Snow is an opportunity this time of year.
Snow is awesome if you can get that.
If you can get on the front side, back side, or snow. I like hunting in the snow. Yeah. It's not like rain.
No, rain sucks.
Pouring rain, deer. I don't care what they tell you. Pouring rain, deer don't like to move.
No.
Before it or a light rain, they'll move all over the place. But snow, you can get a big snowstorm, and it can be snowing heavy. As long as it's not too windy, you have your butt in a tree, you got a shot.
Yep.
Because deer will move in the snow. They like it. That's a big win too. So, well, that's pretty much the rut right there, my friend.
It is.
It is.
Hopefully everybody had luck out there.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, keep pounding out this last week.
Yeah, never give up.
And get in there and get it done.
That's right. Chance to shoot a monster every day you're out. So.
Yeah, buddy. You can't shoot them on the couch.
That's a fact.
Because you're playing buck hunter.
Buck hunter. Yeah, then they don't go on the wall anyway. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Man, we got a new toy. It's something. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you want to watch the hunts, remember to watch the hunts and then future small property layouts on Wednesdays. We're going to bring shows out again once we start working on the properties again here in December coming up. That being said, if you guys want to check us out on our podcasts, you can check us out at any of our outlets, Spotify,
RSS.com,
Google,
Apple,
iHeart,
Amazon.
Check our pretty faces out right here. YouTube, you got any comments, put the comments down below. Like I said, share and like. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, buddy.
Bat.